too. All right, here we go. Hey, Laura, here we are in the Berry Aftercare podcast, the last one for 2023.
We're closing out the year together. I can't believe it. Where did the year go is what I want to know.
That's what I say every year. You know what I think? It's like, it's always Christmas. It feels like it's every time I turn around, I'm getting ready for Christmas. Oh, which, starting about June, I'm like, well, maybe I should buy some Christmas presents. Anyway.
But here we are, and the big holiday is over. For those of you that celebrate, happy day after. And for the rest of you, we have, somebody celebrating Hanukkah, all the things. It's kind of like all of that, most of the holidays have come and exploded. And now we're in like just the after, it might be the afterglow, it might be the after chaos, but it's what I like to call the week between the years. And it is one of my favorite weeks of the year, literally. In my prior lives, careers, this is usually a week I would say vacation time for. Some of our companies in the past have shut down, but I always would travel home to Michigan for Christmas. But then this is the week that I would nestle. I would snuggle into my house. I would maybe tear down Christmas, but I would do a deep clean. I would clean out closets. I would purge. I would scrub out the refrigerator, because in my head, I am preparing for a brand new year. I'm getting ready to welcome a new year in. So it's kind of like goodbye 2023, buckle up 2024. It's a big ride. And so I've always called this the week of between the years, because this is like snuggle time for me. It's kind of like, let's think about all the great things we've done this year, the highs, the lows, and where are we headed? What is the roadmap ahead?
Absolutely. And there have been some highs and lows, but Christmas and the week after has always been a week off for me. So it really blows me away when people say, well, I have to go to work the day after Christmas. I'm like, what do you mean you have to go to work? Because I was in school so much of my adult life. And so when you're in school, you always have those couple of weeks off. And then when I got my jobs like you, I always took my vacation time. And now that I'm self-employed, I take 2 weeks off at Christmas and so it just makes me so sad when people have to go to work. So if you're listening and you have to go back to work, my heart goes out to you, because I don't think anybody should have to work for 2 weeks.
There
but
you go.
This whole week between the years, I love it. It can be a really productive, or it can be a very tough time, because sometimes people are like, oh my God, the holidays were brutal. I went all off my path, and I'm feeling kind of hopeless right now. I'm feeling like, yeah. So part of the reason that you, and I want to give you the credit, came up with this brainstorm to do this was so that we could kind of gather everybody up and say, listen, whether you stayed on track or got off track with your Berry Aftercare lifestyle, or whether it was good holidays or sad holidays or lonely holidays or joy-filled holidays, we need to come together because we are a community. We are a group of people. And like I said to you, it was really comforting for me today when you and I met earlier. It's like, okay, I know this world. This is where I feel comfortable. And so here we are. So let's talk a little bit about some of the highs and lows of the year. And because everybody has them. And I think when we live on social media world, it's all about, look at how wonderful everything is. And that's great, because I like to see the joy. But we all have pain in our lives too.
And when you start out a new year, the curveballs, you have no idea where they're going to come, when they're going to come, why they're going to come, where they're coming from. And we can set the best intentions. I'm not a New Year's resolution person.
Neither.
I never have been. And the things we're going to talk about tonight, and what we're going to talk about in the workshop opportunities coming up, are all things I've done in my life. Anybody that's been around me, knows me, been in my circle, they know that I personally have done this for years. Because New Year's resolutions, you can't go out, party like a rock star on New Year's Eve, drink too much, eat too much, and wake up the next day and be this perfect human being. It's not a thing. It is not a thing. And we're all going to crash and burn, and we think this is the year, it's going to be different. we can't drastically unplug and plug. That's just not how good, solid habits, whole body wellness, how any of that happens. And so I'm not a New Year's resolution fan. I am a intentional kind of like, I always call it a slow January. I'm going to ramp it up. I'm going to plot out the year. I'm going to think about the things I want to accomplish. I make lots of lists, to-do lists, adventure lists, all these different lists, and I start piecing it all together. And so for me in 2023, there's been so many highs and so many lows that it's just been mind-boggling. I have a dog that has been struggling health-wise, had no idea she had back surgery a little over a year ago, and it has just been chaos with her. A year of decline. I'm happy to report she's sitting here at my feet right now, but we're in kind of palliative hospice long-term care right now. And we have good days, we have bad days, and it's completely unknown. I can't control it. I can love her and move forward the best that I can. But it's been curveballs all year. And as we all know, for our fur baby lovers, it can be very expensive, very unexpected. It can be just emotionally crazy. I went back to school in January last year. That was not part of the plan. It was not part of the plan. I was introduced to some grants and some opportunities. Never expected the things to all work and plug in together, but I had to choose to make a big pivot, a career pivot, and go back to school at 52 years young. I am back in school full time this fall, and that was such a culture shock. And it's all online, and it's nothing what I expected. And it literally was 60 to 70 hours worth of homework every week. It was insanity. That was a curveball for me. And, I'm going to call it a high because I pulled straight A's this fall. Don't know how I pulled it off, but yay for that. But I can tell you, I cried every other day. Like,
She did. She did.
Mm-hmm. My friends in Berry Aftercare know, because it's balancing. I have a dad that we're dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's, and that's been a challenge, and working with my siblings, and it's just, but there's been so many highs this year. Like, I've had the pleasure of doing tours with an author out of Saugatuck, Michigan. I house sat in Saugatuck this summer. Like, there's been so many highs and lows. But it's all about choices, and it's all about how we label them. What about you, Connie? What are your highs? What are your lows?
Oh, gosh. This was I told my kids, I said, this is my year of travel. And so we did. We traveled. It was our 40th wedding anniversary, and we took a 2-week trip to Europe. We did a river cruise in France, and we went to Switzerland, which was an absolute highlight of my life, I will tell you. And I plan to go back. So we went on that trip, and earlier in the spring, we went to Hawaii, and then we had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go to Israel. And we got back literally 4 days before everything went haywire over there. So that was super sad to me because, I had literally just been there, and we made connections. We were there on a church group. And so we spent quite a bit of time with some people there who I'm still keeping in contact with. But it was, it felt more like, oh my God, I know some of these people, and they are in the occupied territories, and they are experiencing this. And so that was absolutely devastating. And then I had a really low in September and October, when I had an old issue resurface, and it just kind of took me under for a minute. And but through the gifts of the community of recovery and the people in my life like you, I have the support and the skills and the tools to be able to work through them without being able to find some joy. So the whole thing in the world of Berry Aftercare that I created years ago, and that you are now hosting beautifully, is because life can be very, very challenging. And when you go through something like weight loss surgery, or I went through a treatment program, so much changes in your life, and without the community and the support and learning the skills to navigate without turning back to unhealthy behaviors and unhealthy means of coping, I don't know what I would have done. And so you and I were talking earlier today, and we talked about how you and I both have a purpose in our lives and a mission to be of service to others. That's not all I do, of course. I have my selfish moments. Just ask my husband. But I do feel like that is a purpose in my life. And part of the 12-step program that I was raised in for my early 30s says you can't keep it if you don't give it away. And so this is part of the giving away, to share with other people so that we can maybe encourage a little bit of hope, a little bit of joy, a little bit of, we can get through the tough times, because there will be tough times. So there's, highs and lows happen, and we want to help you guys stay on track as best you can during the highs and the lows, because it can be easy to get off track during the high times too. It's like, oh, everything's great.
Right. And I'm seeing all these
community.
And I'm seeing all these names on here and all these faces on here, and I recognize so many of them. And it's funny, we have brand new people that are part of maybe the bariatric community that are brand new. Who's Laura Preston? I know that Connie lady, and then I've got friends I'm seeing in here that I've known for years, and people are in all different times and spaces of their journey. And the point of the conversation tonight was about language, and it was about words, and it was about setting intentions and setting tones. And anybody sitting with us tonight or listening to this podcast, you have the power to put the footprint out there for 2024. And it is something that you 100% can control. You can't control what comes at you. You can't control how everybody works and reacts around you, but you can control how you react to it and how you navigate it. And that's why we wanted to come together to talk about some of those tools and why language matters. Because Connie, you and I love words.
Mm-hmm. And you've used some really impactful words already tonight. You said you live your life intentionally. That is a really critical word. And we want to point out some of these words as we go through this, because we were talking earlier about the 4 agreements. And one of the 4 agreements is be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. In other words, say what you mean. Be honest with what you have going on. Laura, you have said so many times in recent weeks, what is your phrase? Is being honest is caring. No, what do you say?
No, I love the
Clarity.
phrase. Clarity is kindness. And it's not easy, because it takes courage. It takes bravery. It takes sitting in the feeling. And we all know, if you're around me and you know me and Connie in the feeling game, and being able to label it correctly and state it. Because it takes bravery, because there's fear around it. When you have to say, I am angry because, or I am mad because, we can all sugarcoat and we can all dance around it, and we cannot label it correctly and use the actual real word and language. But all it does is sugarcoat. And then you wonder why you don't get the results. You wonder why the conversation goes nowhere. You wonder, because it's hard. It's hard to say, I'm mad at you, or I'm hurt, or I'm afraid, or I'm scared, or it's hard to admit and commit and say things out loud. But that language matters.
It does. And 2 of the things you just said, it's hard to admit it, for one thing. It's hard to acknowledge and recognize and be honest with ourselves that maybe we are hurt, or maybe we really are scared, or maybe we feel discounted, or we feel dismissed. But when we can do that and then have the courage to share it with another person, it is kindness, because they don't have to guess, and we are being honest. So there's no game playing. And those words from the 4 agreement, be impeccable with your words, is also about being accountable. If I say this, then I am accountable for doing this, which leads into our favorite topic for tonight, Laura.
Accountability.
Accountability.
And it's something that we all cringe, right? Accountability. It's a scary word.
Well, because what it means is follow through. It means having the courage to admit or acknowledge that I did or did not do what I said I was going to do. Accountability. I said I would show up at 4. I ghosted you. I said I would follow up with a note. I didn't do it. Or I did do it and I want to make sure you got it, right? So accountability can play into our shame, it can play into our pain, but accountability is what leads us to growth. It leads us to growth, and having the community aspect to help hold us accountable in a loving, kind, and compassionate way helps lead us to growth. And so that's what we're here to talk about tonight.
Yep. And the word accountability, it's like we can hold others accountable. Like you said you were going to. You
Yeah.
told me da 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 da. The hardest piece I think about accountability is holding ourselves to the fire. And half the time in our heads, it doesn't come out of our mouth. We don't commit. We don't say, I'll meet you at the gym at 6 a.m. Oh, I really want to start getting up in the morning and going to the gym. Or we make these random comments. Oh, girl, I would love to do that too. I really need to quit drinking so much coffee. I really need to. We all talk stuff, but where's the commitment? Where's the accountability? Where do you put it out there? Where do you challenge? Because the thing is once we say it, it's out there now. It's
And
easy.
now we are accountable for the follow
Right.
through.
Right. And
All
how
right.
often are we not accountable to someone, right? You might be thinking something, but you don't tell your partner, or you don't tell your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, because once you say it out loud, now somebody's going to have an expectation of you.
And let me tell you something that has really changed in my life, which has changed my life for the better. And I was reading today in one of my 12-step books about how it's very difficult for us to state, I'm sorry, or I was wrong, or I said I would do this, but I didn't. Holding ourselves accountable, being straightforward about it because we care what other people think, or we don't want to look like a failure, or we don't want to look like whatever. But as I have gotten older and learned more skills, it's so freeing just to come and say, Laura, I told you I was going to do this, and I completely spaced it off, and that is 100% on me. I am so sorry. Or going to my husband before he says something to me and saying, you know what, Steve, I completely took that out on you. It was not about you. It was not okay for me to do that. And I am so sorry. You don't deserve that. So being accountable before it's even brought up is so much freedom in that. So giving yourself permission to be accountable, because you don't need to be perfect.
Right.
But you make progress.
Right. And you can put it out there and life happens. Things change. There's pivots. But when you throw it out there and you're saying, I'm being accountable, I'm telling you I'm doing this, and you can say, I'm sorry, I screwed up. I need to change the time. I didn't, it doesn't mean that there aren't pivots and availability and options, but it's putting it out there and recognizing it and having to answer to yourself. I'm not talking about holding others accountable right now. That's not what this whole podcast is about. It's about accountability of self.
Yes.
And here's one of the biggest challenges, I think, when it comes to accountability, is sometimes the people that are in our immediate circles, husbands, wives, family, whatever it may be, best friends, those aren't the people maybe that you want to hold you to the fire, right? Because you don't want to hear things like, oh, you say that every year, right? Oh, I'm going to lose this 20 pounds of regain this year. Didn't you say that last year? How'd that work out for you? Like, they're not giving you a clean slate. You know what I mean? They're not giving. So sometimes accountability within community, in a space that understands you, that understands struggles, accountability. Like that's why, with AA meetings, when you show up to that meeting, you're accountable for Thursday night at 7 p.m. You show up, your sponsor's looking for you. Like those are people that get you. They understand when you're like, oh, I really wanted to drink today, or I really wanted to eat that cupcake today, or I really wanted to, because they know that language. Sometimes our accountability partners or friends, that kind of accountability to be inside of a place or a community where it's safe and you can put it out there and admit things to people that are not in your everyday life. They're not the people that you wake up with, brush your teeth with, do dishes with, that, these are complete strangers that aren't going to intrude or be part of your daily life. That is a different kind of level of accountability.
That's
It's
right.
like a safety zone. It's a safety zone
It
because you can talk through that accountability, not it didn't work out for you last time. The history might not be there. The outside influences and the dynamics aren't there. And that's why in bariatric care, or I run a women's group, or in our communities, having this closed network, if you're in the bariatric community, maybe you're part of another group or another community, that community is kind of like sacred space.
Right. Yeah, in 12-step world, we call that our home group. You have your home group. And even though these might not be the people that are in your daily life and all up in your business, these are people who really understand. And there is a level of vulnerability that is acceptable there because there is a shared experience, and that is a gift. And you can also lead by example. So you can go in there and be accountable and say, you know what? I really fell off the wagon over the holidays. And that may give somebody else permission to say, so did I, but I was afraid to say so for fear of being judged or whatever it is. So you're giving it away to others by being honest and being vulnerable. But having that home group who comes to know you and comes to value your input and value your vulnerability, that's kind of how we arrived at accountability, because we see a lot of people in the bariatric community and the AA community and all these areas of life, even in our own homes, right? Where people say, I'm going to lose that 20 pounds this year. Yeah, like you did last year. And we want to help people walk the walk while they're talking the talk. And the way to get from here to there, to close that gap between this is where I'm at, this is where I want to be, is through accountability in loving, safe, compassionate accountability. Not call you out and knock your head off and shame you and condemn you. But, there's healthy support and there's non-healthy support. So we're talking healthy support, like, yeah, that scares me for you. What can I do to help prevent that again? Not, oh, honey, it's okay.
Right. And the other thing I love about online communities, and I love them because it's in your pocket. It's with you all the time. Like your best friend, your accountability partner, like you can take a break at work and run in a bathroom and fire something off inside of a private group or in a space. Like your friends are in your pocket. They're there at 2 a.m. when you're up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep. Somebody might not be available in that second, but somebody's going to see it. It gives you a safe, locked place. It's
kind of
a way.
Not that I would know this from personal experience, mind you, but I have heard that when you run, you run things like, half marathons or, things like that. I did do a 60-mile walk one time, but there were people along the sidelines cheering you on. And that momentum, that you got this, you can do this, is kind of like being in a group where people say, listen, I'm going to be waiting to hear how that went. I'm going to, you're having surgery next Wednesday. Be sure to let us know how it goes. You're having that issue with your daughter. I'm here for you if you need to talk. It's kind of like the people on the side of the road cheering you on, because nobody can do this for you, right? Nobody can do your journey of bariatric, maintaining weight loss, getting the weight off, keeping the weight off for you, but you sure as heck can't do it alone. And so it's good to have that we're with you and we're for you.
100%. And I think that when we talk about words and language and the words that matter, like we chose, just you and I talking about accountability, talking about why do people not show up? Why are people not involved? Everybody says, I want support, I want this, I want that, but people don't engage because we don't commit. We're not accountable to it. I'm going to give you guys an example. And for those of you that are friends with me or follow me on social media, last January, I am 18 years post-op gastric bypass, 18 years. It'll be 19 years in March. And the last couple of years have been hard. It's been a struggle. And I have had a lot of regain at different points in time. And I live it out loud. And I've shared it on social media over the years. I've taken off 70 pounds of regain before. I've taken off 19 years almost is a long time to be post-op bariatric surgery. There's highs and lows in life, but last January, I got on a scale and I did a scale shot and I posted it. I posted it in January and I said, and I put it on social media, on my regular Instagram, my regular Facebook page. And I literally said, I am putting this out here because this is my gravitational pull on the earth. I'm starting in January. This is what my weight is. I am going to have a year of maintenance and health and wellness. I didn't say I'm going to lose 50 pounds by this date. I've done that before. I've counted it down and I have literally caused myself so much stress and anxiety. I'm 52, guys, menopause, all the things, right? What works before doesn't work anymore. This year, it was about health and wellness. This year, it was about accountability for me. Because if I tell the community I'm showing up every Monday and I'm inviting you to join me, I said it. I posted it every Monday. Out of 52 weeks, because I posted my last one yesterday on Christmas Day, out of 52 weeks, I think I had 2 weeks that I posted a little bit late because I was traveling. And a lot of times I hauled the scale with me, as many of you know, but I forgot it a couple times. But I always posted. I never missed a week. And you watched me gain weight. You watched me lose weight. You watched me like gain more than, I don't think I ever gained more than where I started, but you've watched because it was data. It was data. And I would share, this is where I'm at this week. This is what's happening in my life. Because for me, I was tracking it and I did it literally like an online journal. If you go to my Facebook page or my Instagram, you're going to see it. And I'm sure people that followed me thought this girl's nuts. I've had people message me and say to me, you need to lighten up on yourself. You need to, and I always messaged them back and said, see, but you didn't read this paragraph of why I'm doing this, because I want to show people this is real life, but I'm being accountable and I'm telling you I'm doing it and I'm showing up for it because you know what? If it was just me in my house, I don't know that I would have done it. I don't know that I would have done it. We show up for others. We show up for promises. We show up, but every Monday I reported in and I did all 52 weeks. This Monday was my last week. And I committed to proving this is a year in my life. This is a year of what 18 years post-op looks like. This is my gravitational pull on the earth. It's not, I'm a good person. I'm a failure. I'm a bariatric success. It has no definitions on it.
So that was a way for you to be accountable.
Yep.
That was
and my community.
That's right. And I love that. And I love that out loud expression of your inward commitment.
Yep.
So what are some other ways you hold yourself accountable? And then I'll share some ways that I hold myself accountable.
Other ways I hold myself accountable. I've done different motivational things in my women's group where we've signed up to do a walk together. We've walked and I have failed miserably at a couple of them, but we've earned medals. Like I have them on my wall here where we all walk together. But I'm also looking at one that I committed to do 100 miles and you had to color in the petals of the flower and there's 4 petals colored in. I have bought into 2 medals this year that I did I can't remember, the Camino, the big pilgrimage. It was this huge walk. My medal, never earned it because life went up in an inferno. It went up in an inferno. And so I have dropped a lot of balls, right? I signed up to do my personal training certification for the 3rd time in my lifetime. Never did it. Paid it. Thousands of dollars I have spent. Never did it. So I have done different things, but the accountability factors, sometimes you hold yourself to the wall, but guess what? I fell down, but guess what? I got back up. I'll tell you
other ways I've seen you be accountable. You do book clubs, and for those book clubs, you read the book. You do daily takes every Monday, and you are there. You organize the Facebook page, and you do it consistently, in spite of all these ups and downs. So I see you showing accountability in a lot of ways. And I'll tell you the number one way that I maintain accountability. I have gotten to a point in my life where I'll ask people like Laura, and I have 2 other best friends named Diane, both of them, and my husband. And I'll tell you a little caveat about him, or Andrea Schroeder, who maybe is listening, or people that I am very honest and open with about all of my life. And I'll say to them, I need your feedback on this. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Do you think I'm missing something in this situation? Because I'm all up in my feels about it and I've lost perspective. So what do you see as being my part? One of the great questions that I have learned to ask is, what's my part? Because as Laura said earlier, we can always say, well, you said you do this and you didn't. We can hold other people accountable right and left. But if we ask ourselves, what's my part? That is one of the greatest questions you can ever ask yourself. Back in the day, I didn't want my husband's feedback. I didn't want him to tell me what he thought because I would be defensive and defiant and childish. Today, he's one of the first people I go to and I say, listen, you see me more often than anybody else. You know me better than anybody else. What am I missing here? What do you see going on? So asking other people for input. With my best friends, my girlfriends, we have a little pact, right? We'll call and we'll complain and bitch and moan and do all the things. Tell my best friend all the bad things about my husband, and then she'll agree with me. She'll, that Jack A, or that, she'll just go right in there with me. And then after I get it all out, and she'll calm the stage and she'll say, and Connie, what was your part? So she'll listen to me and love me and hug me through it and, have compassion, but then she will hold me accountable. What was your part? Because I will always have a part. So when we make excuses for why we didn't meal plan, or we make excuses for why we didn't exercise, we make excuses for who asks you, what's your part? Yeah, we know life sucks and life is busy and life is stressful. What was your part? How did you contribute to not doing what you said you were going to do? Yep. So that is our word of the year in Berry Aftercare.
It is. And we're literally laying it like a giant umbrella over the entire year. For 2024, what are you going to be accountable for on a weekly basis? This week, what can I hold you accountable for? I'm going to paint my living room. I'm going to clean out my desk. I'm going to prep my vitamins for the whole week. Like we're going to literally run it in that aspect, but we're also going to layer in tons of words, weekly words every week that literally support accountability. And we're going to dig into them. We're going to explore them. We're going to talk about them because the words we use, the choices we make with the language, it matters. And a great example that Connie and I talk about all the time, and I always use sugar as an example, or like drive-through food, or we could say, oh, I can't have that. I can't have sugar. Oh, I had a gastric bypass. I can't have sugar. That just sounds like I'm in prison. I'm being punished, right? I can't. I mean, even the tone I use, oh, I can't do that. Like it just drops down low. Woe is me, poor is me. But you can change that language and you can say, oh, I don't eat drive-through. I don't eat sugar. Right. That's a choice. That's a choice. And if you guys know me, if I could live through a tattoo, I would probably have a giant tattoo on my body that says we all have choices, because we do. You can choose differently at any point, any second of any day. So I can either say, I can't, blah, 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 or I can say, I don't. And you can hear in my tone, oh, I can't, or I don't. It's a choice. Right.
And there's a huge empowerment, important word, empowerment with that important word, choice. Yep. I can't, that's a powerful word. And that's why we're going to be impeccable with our word. Is it, I can't do that, or I choose not to? I'm going to say, I can't run. The truth is, I choose not to run.
Right. I don't cook, period. Like, I hate the kitchen. I hate cooking. I hate how long it takes. I don't want to obsess. I mean, I could learn. I took French cooking classes last year with my mom, and we made croissants, and it was a challenge, people, but we did it. We did it as a mother-daughter project. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And that's a choice. That is a choice I make. And you get to choose it. I don't run either. If I'm running, you probably need to call 911. There's a problem. Something bad is happening, but I'll do cardio for days in other ways. but we have choices, but the way we put that language together and the things we say to ourselves in the mirror every day and the way we speak to ourselves impact everything. I woke up every day this fall and I literally had to say, I can do hard things. I can do hard things. Yes, I can take my dad for his INR today, be back by 4 o'clock, take a test by something, have all this stuff due by midnight. I can do this. I can do hard things. Like, I had to say that to myself every single day. I can do this. I can do this. I have a crazy day today. It'll be better tomorrow, but I can do this. I can get through this. We build the positive language in our life.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the importance of words and how they matter. And while you're listening, think to yourself, how do I hold myself accountable? And or how do I let myself off the hook? How do I get away with not being accountable? What are the excuses? What is the language I use for not being accountable? Because that is super important. And in your communities and in the Bariafter group, that's part of what we want to do in a firm and fair way by saying, are you listening to what you just said? Are you aware of the implication of those words? You're putting yourself down, you're making it sound like you don't have it. And people will literally say, I didn't have a choice. Really? Really? There are very few times in our lives, especially as adults, that we do not have a choice.
Correct.
It can happen, but it's not a part of our daily lives.
Right.
We have choices. We may not like our choices, but we have choices. So there are ways in Bariafter Care that we plan to help you be more accountable. Part of it is to state it. I'm struggling with this, or I did this, or share the great things, right? State it, share it, get the support, get the validation, get the applause you deserve, and then work through it and work toward the goal with you. Because the only way to get there is by doing, and you will do if you're held accountable for what you say you do. And that's the other thing. You get to choose what you're going to do. Nobody's going to say you have to do this or this or this or this. So we're going to work on that together in those workshops.
And speaking of workshops.
So this is
the cool part. So Connie and I, so over the years, like literally, I know I've done this for at least 10 years. I know I have. And people that know me know this. I have always picked a word of the year. Every year, I literally stew on it. This week between the years, I pick a word of the year and it becomes a theme in my life. It might end up on a t-shirt. It definitely will be on my vision board. I pick a word that sets the tone for the whole year. So we picked accountability for Bariafter Care. That is in Connie's program. It's all about accountability this year. If we're going to say it, we're going to commit, we're going to do it, and we're going to follow up and we're going to support each other. But in our own personal life, what is the word of the year? This year, my word of the year was create. Because I used to be a creative director of a company. I am my happiest when I am creating things, making things, creating book club, creating this, creating that. Like I love decorating. Like I am a creative person. But the tagline, and I'm looking at a board, and if I wasn't holding this dog, I would totally go pick it up. I literally put on a board that my girlfriend Nadia gave me where you can spell your own quote in your house. It says, create the life you dream of living. That was my tagline for the year. My word was create. People bought me coffee mugs. It's on my wall in my office, like the word create. Am I creating more work for myself by doing this? Like I would use that word in so many different ways all of the time. But I did believe that I can create a life I dream of living. I believe it. I have the power. I have the choices. So when Connie and I were talking about Bariafter Care, I said, we need to do something to build into Bariafter Care, like a workshop series in January. Like everything all my crazy, we're going to put into 3 workshops. We're going to put it into picking the word of the year is going to be 1 workshop. And we're going to do it, and interrupt me if I'm going off on a tangent. But January 2nd, we're going to do a workshop inside Bariafter Care where we're going to talk about word of the year. And we're going to throw around ideas and we're going to talk about how to use it in your life and how to incorporate it. I'm going to share words I've used over the years, where I find them, how we find them, and we're going to talk about language. we're going to do a second workshop where we're going to talk.
Us. So in that workshop, it's going to be interactive, not just us.
Right.
Everybody's going to be creating. Everybody's going to be sharing and, pondering words and describing themselves if they can't think of a word, and we'll help, if need be. Okay. So the workshops are going to be interactive, not didactic.
100%. And you're going to leave that workshop with homework to come back to workshop number 2, because at the beginning of workshop number 2, we're going to share our words. Everybody's going to say, here's my word of the year. Like, we're going to walk away. We're going to do the work. You got Berry Aftercare. You can be in there all week long chit-chatting about it. But we're going to come back to workshop number 2. And workshop number 2 is going to be like, okay, what was your word of the year? Now we're going to build vision boards or branding boards or, becoming a board. That's something Connie and I saw this year. Somebody used the language. We're going to build boards, however you want to do it. And we're going to talk about options and show examples, but putting a vision out there for 2024. What do you want the year to look like? Take that word of the year. Mine was create. And on my vision board, I created all these different scenarios of things I wanted to do or achieve. It was an inspiration for the vision board. And then we're going to walk away for 2 weeks. And then we're going to come back at the end of January for the last one.
Let me say something about the vision boards, okay?
Yes.
Because I am not an artistically creative person. It kind of makes me cringe.
Mm-hmm.
So Laura said something about a digital vision board. And I was like, now that sounds good to me because I can make it my wallpaper on my computer.
100%.
I don't want to tape pieces of paper because it looks ugly to me and I don't feel comfortable with that. So your vision board can be however you want it. But the thing about these vision boards is they're not going to be a piece of art on the wall. They are going to be things that we look at and we work with throughout the year to help you actually get to some of those. Not all of them. Not all of them. I have a planner, a very detailed planner where I write out all my goals, and just writing them down helps me. Being able to see them somewhere helps even more. So it's going to be a flowing, a dynamic, a piece of your life that helps you get to where you want to be. Not 10 years from now, but maybe you can have some long term. But how am I going to do the gotta do's every day? How am I going to get this water in? How am I going to get this movement in? So practical, how you live your life, reach your goals for a healthy lifestyle. Not how am I going to lose 5 pounds in the next week?
Right. And the thing is, and that's where Connie and I are a good check and balance because my brain's so out even further. I'm going to go to New York City next year on the week in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, the first weekend of I'm going. It's going on the vision board. I don't care if the dog has to go to the kennel. Like, I need to put that into my life because I need something to look forward to. I need to be able to dream about something that's going on the vision board. But we're going to share with you because I do cut and paste. I made the biggest vision board. It's obnoxious last year, but I've done it in different ways. I have a girlfriend that does it as her screensaver. And it's like a Pinterest board kind of.
That's going to be me.
Right. And we do it all different ways, but I'll show you different ways I have done it over the years. I've also taken a calendar and literally pasted goals for each month on the top part of a free calendar from the nuclear plant. And I've done, because at the end of the year, I could go back and look and see everything I did for the whole entire year. I could reflect on my entire year. It was like a visual planner, so to speak. So we're going to talk about different ways. But then the third workshop we're going to do inside Berry Aftercare, this is the one that I think like it's fun to pick the word. It's inspiring. You're going to buy coffee mugs and t-shirts and it's going to be all, then the vision board, it's under my desk. I look at it every day. But then the third one is we are literally going to, I call it reverse engineer. We're going to be like, okay, Laura Preston, you want to go to New York City on that week? How much is the plane ticket? Where's the money coming from? What date are you going to have that plane ticket booked by? Because I can say I'm going to Paris next year. I'm going to go see Andrea. I'm going to New Zealand next year. I can say, again, going back to accountability, I can say a lot of things. I'm going to paint my house next year. I've said that for 3 years. It's still ugly brown with peach doors. Like, haven't done it because life happens, but you've got to reverse engineer it. I'm going to buy the paint by March. I'm going to paint it this week in June when school's out. Like, you've got to plan for the success. I'm going to lose 25 pounds this year. You're not going to do it all in 1 month, I promise. Regain doesn't work like that. So can we say we're going to lose 5 pounds in the first 3 months? Like, you've got to break it up and back it up.
I call it working in reverse. And we've done this for Berry Aftercare. We have our 52 weeks, we have our 52 words, we have the daily affirmations that go with them. If you take classes like I did all of my life, you have a semester. The finals are here. These are the assignments. You work backwards, and you've done it 1,000 times. If you have a job or kids or whatever, you've done it. You have schedules. You plug in the dates and you go forward, but you've got to start backwards. So we're going to help you do that so that we can celebrate with you as you achieve those steps toward getting to New York next year during the week between years.
Those Rockettes, I'm telling you, I'd put the vision board in a kick line if I thought I could live through the number, but.
All right. And how we're going to do that is with daily affirmations, daily takes. What's a daily take, Laura?
So daily takes, so inside Berry Aftercare, inside the room, you can use as much as you want or as little as you want. There's a lot of different things that happen. Every day, Connie has a daily affirmation that goes up. I literally roll over in my bed every morning. It goes up at 6 a.m. I literally grab a hold of it. Whatever time I open that phone, the first thing I do, because I dial in, I check in, I click the like button, and I usually put a comment at the bottom. I read it, and it puts my brain in a wake up. I have control. I can make the choices. Like, Connie has an affirmation every day. Then every day there's a daily take with one of the group leaders. Lots of us are volunteers in here. Lots of us just have taken this on because at 18 years out, community still matters to me. You guys have known me for a long time, a lot of you. I don't sell vitamins anymore. I'm still here because I need to maintain my health and wellness. And all these people on here are part of my life and part of this journey, and they're part of it. And it's where I dial in. So every day there's a daily take from someone that's leading in the group where we come in on Mondays, sometime between, 9 and 12, sometimes it's 12:02. I come in and do a live and I talk about something. Every day there is a live daily take, and it might be wait till you hear what I bought last night, or it could be random. It could be anywhere. I talk about words all the time, and I ask a question at the end, but it's a daily take. It's how you get to know me. It's how you get to know Kalisha. It's how you get to know Tabitha and Rob and Chef Henry and people that are in the room. But I'm your Monday girl. I'm the Monday girl because I check in. I get on that scale. I post that scale in there. I'm accountable to you. I check in. Here's the daily take. Here's what's coming up this week. So you have a daily take in the room. That's a daily thing. So there's 2 things daily, and you engage as much as you want. But the room is full of all kinds of things all week long.
Right. There's a lot more coming this year too. So how this all translates to accountability is, like Laura said, there are choices. You make the investment. When you make the investment, you get the outcome. You put forth the effort and you have accountability for that effort. It's like Laura said today, it's like an accountability coach that you're not paying for. Choose what works for you. There's so much being offered. And we're going to use the framework of words so that we can expand our language and use our words specifically. Make the words matter. No more, I can't, I won't. But go ahead and say, I choose not to. That's okay. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to do it all.
You can use that complete sentence that's 2 letters. N-O, no. Do you want to? No. Stop talking. That's why I have to take myself all the time. No, stop talking. The answer is no. I don't have to defend it, explain it. You get to choose it.
So let's tell people how they can get in on these workshops. If you're in Berry Aftercare, you're already in on them.
Right. So if you're a Berry Aftercare member, just stay tuned. Stay tuned because you're in there, you're part of it, and this is brand new. But I said to Connie, it's the end of the year. We overspent during the holidays. We're broke. We probably feel funky. We ate too much. We did too much. We're all those things. And I said, Connie, we need to do a promo and we need to do something and invite people in, and we need to make it like I literally said, stupid, crazy cheap because everybody's broke. It's the holidays, right? Like we're asking people to hold themselves to the fire. We're asking people to come in and pour into community. We're asking. And so I said, Connie, we're going to do it. You need to do it. Not we, it's her room.
It's us.
I know, but still, I said you need to do it as an annual thing. So we're starting the yearly tradition right now. We're putting it out there and we're doing it with workshops. So if you're in Berry Aftercare, it's going to go live into Berry Aftercare immediately. All the workshops will be taught in there. But what we're doing is it is going to be Berry Aftercare is a monthly membership. It's been that way since Connie built it, and it's $29.99 a month. You can sign up, you can pay monthly, you can do, I think, 6 months or 1 year or whatever. But I said to Connie, I'm asking you, we're going to do this for $19.99. Like literally, like crazy. Like I feel like I'm an infomercial. $19.99, all included. But literally, it's going to be $10 for January, $10 for February, because we're going to put you into the workshops. You get 3 workshops with us. It's $19.99 for the first 2 months. And then after that, it's literally $14.99 a month until you cancel. It's half the price that Berry Aftercare normally is. But you get to do a 2-month introduction. You get to come in for $20, $19.99. Don't go out to dinner. Don't order the pizza Friday. $19.99 for 2 months, and then it's going to be $14.99 a month after until you leave. Because then when you leave and you want to come back, it's $29.99 because that's what it is all year long. And we have a room that has 800 people in it. Like it is a big community, but it's been a quiet community. And that's why we layered in accountability, because we're going to come in strong and we're going to teach workshops. And it is drink your water, take your vitamins, eat your protein it's all those things, but it's that times 9 million things more. It's what did you do this weekend? It's what are you looking forward to? What does your vision board say? What is your goals? What's your dream? You're getting a new job. It is real life.
Right. We call it going beyond bariatrics. Absolutely. You've got to do the bariatric basics, but you got to go beyond bariatrics too, because your life is your life. 18 years past surgery, Laura, yes, you've got to stay committed to your healthy bariatric basics, but your life is your life.
Right. We're going to go back to school with you. We're going to graduate with you. We're going to get new jobs with you. Your grandkids are going to be born. We're going to watch you get on your plane to go to New York City because we know that all year you've been planning on it. That's what Berry Aftercare is. And it is your own little pocket world in your pocket.
Home group.
Homeroom,
Yeah.
home group.
So there's that. And we really, really want you to be present because I can't wait to do my vision board in more than just words in my planner because I've always done that. So I can't wait to have a new screensaver for my or wallpaper, or whatever the heck you call it. So thank you for joining me for this podcast, Laura. You are always full of energy and life and wisdom, and you're just over the years have become just one of my family.
Well, and thank you. You've invited me multiple times this year to come and just talk. And we've talked about a lot of different topics. But thank you for giving me a place to still be in community. A lot of you know me from other roles, other titles, other things I've done in the bariatric community. I don't work full-time in the bariatric community anymore, but I live full-time in bariatric community. It will never not be a piece of who Laura Preston is. So thank you for letting me be dialed into Berry Aftercare and be a part of it and inviting me back in because I need the community as much as it might need my 18 years of experience. I still need the accountability. I showed it all year long. So thank you for allowing me to volunteer and be inside of here and stay involved.
Well, thanks for giving back so you can keep it. All right, Berry Aftercare friends, can't wait to have another amazing year with you. And we'll see you next week on the podcast. Night, Laura.
Good night, Connie.